My daughter has become a degenerate after finding a goth boyfriend and slapped me in front of him to try assert dominance over me, so I called the police on her. A few months ago my daughter Rachel started failing classes, which is something she has never done before as she was a straight A student. Around this same time, she started hanging out with a boy from school. He wears a lot of baggy clothing, weird haircut and wears ICP shirts every time I've seen him. I think my daughter is in love with her, because she now always paints her face before she goes out, with the exception of when she is going to school. She had about $500 saved up and I guess she went out and bought all these ICP shirts and hats. I didn't know what ICP was, so I googled it. I found that there is a culture around this band and they call themselves juggalos. I found a lot of negative stuff about juggalos, so naturally I was concerned. Some even consider it a gang. I brought this up with my daughter and asked her if she was on substances. This was about 2 weeks after she started dressing this way. She told me to mind my own business and slammed her bedroom door in my face. I waited a few days and tried to talk to her about it again. This time, she told me that I was being dumb and that she wasn't doing substances. I asked her why she was wearing face paint. She told me that it was no different than me wearing Kiss makeup when I went to one of their concerts years ago. I told her that I was going to a concert, not spending an hour doing makeup to walk 5 minutes to the grocery store to buy a gallon of milk. The argument really didn't get anywhere and I decided to let it go. This was until we went out for our yearly Mother's Day dinner. We usually go to a decent restaurant and this year we decided to go to Macaroni Grill. While my daughter decided she was going to wear her face paint and ICP clothes to this dinner. I was ticked off and told her to go change. I told her that this wasn't a circus and we were celebrating her mother. She got very upset and yelled some profanity at me about how I am a horrible father. Because of this argument, we didn't go to dinner. I feel horrible about it for my wife's sake, and I did make it up to her the next day. Either way, up until last week my daughter and I had little contact and when I would try to talk to her, she gave me the silent treatment. This last weekend I found something no father wishes they would ever find. Call me a bad father for snooping, but I did. She was out doing her thing with this boy and I wanted to see if she had any substances in her room. I thought maybe I would find some grass. If I did, I would confiscate it and talk to her about it. But what I found was a white powdery substance in a small Ziploc bag. Being a former addict, I knew what it was. I went and talked with my wife about it and she was shocked. We didn't know what to do. Hours later, my daughter showed up at our home with this boy. I called her out about what I found and she completely lost it and told me I had no right to go through her things. After her yelling was finished, I asked the boy to leave and that this was a family matter. My daughter told me to F off, proceeded to literally slap me and took him to her room. My wife was crying and I was fuming. It took a lot not to slap her across the head but I maintained myself and didn't resort to that. What I did next is what I feel was the best thing I could do. I called the police on them. You can now check if there is a part 2 by pressing share and more.